I'm sharing another video with you just to help keep you practicing your yoga even from home as we're still practicing this idea of social distancing. I know it's sometimes hard to get motivated to do these types of things on your own, so I will commit to keep sharing these videos as long as we've got those yoga studios still closed. So again, you can take the time for yourself and come to your mats and just kind of drift away from the craziness that is the world right now. If you followed my last video, we did focus a lot on the crown chakra. We peeked to our headstand, and the idea of this crown chakra was mainly this focus of connectivity in the sense of maybe feeling a little less alone even though we're closed inwards and a little isolated. Today I want us to focus on the exact opposite, which would be our root chakra. And I say opposites, they're not really opposites, they're actually sometimes considered the two most closely linked, even though one's at the top of the chain and one's at the bottom. And the reason why particularly I want to focus on our root chakra today is it's really important in times like this where it's easy to watch the news, be glued to those articles on Facebook or Instagram, where we're kind of cultivating this idea of fear and anxiety. You see the stories of people hoarding toilet paper or buying up all the baby formula and then selling it to people who actually need it for twice the price, or ridiculously awful things like this. When we focus on our root chakra, what we're trying to do is really ground into our sense of stability, of security, and this idea that we have absolutely everything that we need. It's super important in these times especially, I think, to return to this chakra and really spend some time just reminding ourselves just that we have everything that we need. If you were like me as a kid, a big Disney fan, the Jungle Book was always a great one. Good old Blue, one of those best characters you'll ever meet. He tells you all about these bare necessities. His whole song is wonderful and about how easygoing life can be if we really just live off of what we need. We can feel secure, we can feel stable, we can feel safe. And we don't need all of these excessive things. So again, I think it's really important to kind of go along with the sense of that song, and as I said, really focus on our root chakra and return us to this place of feeling like everything is going to be just fine, okay? When you're ready to join me, I am started by seating myself on my yoga block. I mentioned in my last video, if you don't have a block at your disposal, no problem. Maybe a book or something along the same size. I'll show you what it looks like. If it can hold your weight, maybe you want to use it, or maybe you just want to start seated nice and flat to the floor. I will say that I'm starting in a cross-legged position, and I know due to some limitations in hips and knees, that's not in everyone's practice, and that's okay. If you want to grab yourself a nice chair, we can start seated in a chair rather than on the floor. We will be here for quite some time for the start of our practice, so I want you to make sure you're comfortable. So take some time, figure out what equipment it is that's going to help get you comfortable. Come on back to your mat, and then before you press play, I will also say, as with all the other practices I've shared so far, there might be instances where our hands come in close contact with our face, if not actually touching. So I do want to encourage everyone to wash their hands before we start our practice. As usual, I have my hand sanitizer close by, so I'm going to start by using that for myself. And as I rub my hand sanitizer in and make sure I get myself nice and clean, as I said, please take some time, pause the video if you need to go find a chair, a block, a book, whatever it might be. Wash those hands for a good 20 seconds, make sure you're nice and clean, and then come on back to join me. Okay, once you have everything that you possibly need, as I said, is kind of the theme for today's class, and you are seated on that chair, that block, or the floor itself, I want you to really think about pressing your sit bones strong down and not just into the block, but into the ground below the block. So we feel nice and secure, nice and supported. I then want you to take your shoulders and round them down away from the ears, but lift nice and tall through the tops of the head. This is going to keep you in a nice long and strong spine as we come to our opening meditation. When you're ready, I want you to take a deep breath in, sweep those arms overhead, touch those palms together, and as we exhale, we want to collect those hands in towards the heart. But then I want you to take those fingertips and actually point them downward if this is available within your wrists. And the reason why we want to point those fingers downward is the positioning of our root chakra is actually at the very, very base of our spine. So this is where we want to draw our awareness. This is also a nice stretch for our wrists as well. We want to keep those shoulders down and back. We might even find a bit of a stretch through the chest and front of the shoulders. I will invite you to tuck your chins to your chest, again, looking downward, just to draw our awareness down and towards our root, our base, or the start of it all. My eyes are closed, and I will take a deep breath in here through my nose. And as I exhale, I want to visualize that breath traveling downward and almost exhaling down and through my root. With my next inhale, I challenge myself to take an even slower, even more complete inhale through my nose. And as I exhale, I visualize that exhale pushing downwards and exiting through my root. One more time, a deep, gradual breath in. Helps also to settle and calm through any busy or worrying thoughts. And with my deep breath out, I again send that breath downwards. It's exhaling through my root, but also trying to send down and in towards the ground, to almost think about planting roots. This idea of being grounded, of being secure, of being supported. We will repeat with another inhale and an exhale to ground down further, extend or plant those roots. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale, push downward. Focus on that root. From here, let's maybe take those hands now and rest them on our hips. Fingertips are still pointing down and inward towards our base. Our shoulders are still reaching down away from the ears, but maybe now we're lifting nice and tall once again through the tops of the heads. So we're encouraging a nice, long and strong spine. With our eyes closed and our attention at that root or base of our spine, or that root chakra, that place where we're pressing down and through the block and we're nice and secure and supported. Here, I'm going to set a mantra for today's class. And if you don't know what a mantra is, it's basically a few reaffirming words that we repeat, and we use them to kind of hold our focus so we're not drifting into our never-ending to-do items. We're not drifting into those news articles that are filling us with fear, with anxiety. Instead, we're going to stay grounded in this present moment, focusing on the following words. I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. So again, to repeat those, deep breath in. And as we exhale, I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. Another deep breath in. Let your internal monologue repeat these words with your exhale, or you can still repeat them out loud with me. I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. This time I'm going to practice this silently with my internal monologue, and I encourage you to do the same. Deep breath in. Exhale, repeat that mantra. And again, inhale. Exhale, the breath travels downward and we repeat our mantra. As we prepare to take our next breath in, we'll sweep those arms up overhead. Palms will turn and face the front of the room. And as we exhale, I want you to bring those palms down. Maybe your eyes are still closed, mine are. Feel for the ground. That little bit of trust, finding where the ground is with your eyes closed, that is the sense of security we are searching for. So press strong into the ground, plant those roots. Inhale. Exhale, repeat your mantra, press into your palms, press your seats into your block or the ground or the chair. Again, if you're in a chair, maybe our hands are finding our thighs rather than the ground, and that is okay. The most important part is that we're focused on our breath and focused on repeating these words. I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. Another deep breath in. As we exhale, press into those palms, press into your seats. And one more time. Repeat your mantra with your internal monologue. From here, my next inhale is going to bring my seat up and clear of my block. I'm walking my hands a little further forward and repositioning. My block will come off to the side. My wrists are under my shoulders and my knees are under my hips. As I'm pressing into my palms, I'm separating those fingers nice and wide. I again want to think about this idea of planting my roots. So pressing into those palms, pressing into my knees, my shins, the tops of my feet, so I am nice and secure against the ground. Really visualize pressing into them, and you're almost firing your muscles already. It's almost a sense of tightness or heat throughout the body, but we're really getting a sense of this grounding down, finding those roots. Inhale, we want to enjoy just this nice feeling here, really pressing into those hands, shins, knees, and feet. And with an exhale, maybe we soften. Inhale, press again down, nice and strong, warm through the body. Exhale, soften. One more time, really practicing this, pressing down, planting those roots, maybe even tensing through the core. Exhale, we soften. Here, the next in-breath, we'll drop the belly towards the earth and lift the chest nice and tall. Rounding through the spine, we are opening to our cow or back bend. Exhale, we tuck, round or scoop, chin to chest in our cat. I recommend closing those eyes as we sway through a few more rotations of these cat-cows to warm the core and warm the spine. The eyes being closed will help us practice this idea of trust. Trust in our bodies, trust in the space around us. Inhaling to pull forward. Exhaling to tuck to center. These movements happen in our own time. We're moving honestly and inherently with our own breath. One more deep inhale here. One more exhale to tuck to center. And then we will use our inhale to flatten or neutralize the spine. Here, we'll send our knees to the wide edges of our mat and tap our toes together and behind us. We press our seats back towards our heels, lengthen out through our upper bodies, and invite our forehead down towards the ground. This is a wide-legged version of our child's pose, also known as our wisdom's pose. With our eyes closed, we return to repeating our mantra. I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. Maybe we're pressing more into those palms, driving more of our hips back and towards our heels. Focusing on the breath to keep us calm and quiet. Helping us hear that inner voice say, I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. We're spending an extra few breaths here, just allowing the outside world to melt away. We find our base, our support center. We breathe into it, perhaps allowing that internal monologue to resonate even louder. When we're ready, an inhale, we'll round our way up and forward. We stack our shoulders over our wrists. With those knees already a mat's distance apart, let's also separate our feet, so they're also matching that mat's distance of separation. From here, I'm coming down to my forearms. And if I'm already feeling a stretch through my seat, I stay exactly as is. If it's available within my shoulders and my chest, I may be walking out a little further. This time, inviting my chin down and towards the ground, reaching those arms towards the front of the room. This is my puppy pose. And as I think about lengthening through my upper body, I'm trying to shine my heart down and into the ground. Again, thinking about planting these roots or really breathing into the sensation of grounding. Grounding to help me feel safe, comfortable, secure, and supported. I allow my mantra to enter my head once again, reminding myself, I am safe, I have everything I need, I have trust. My next inhale slowly walks those hands back in and towards my body. From here, I want to reposition so my knees are now under my hips, wrists are still under my shoulders. I'm still grounding down nice and strong, pressing into the palms of the hands so that I can feel the earth beneath me. From here, an inhale will point just my left toes up towards the ceiling. Maybe my inhale boosts my chest a little more, returning to that back bend. From here, I will slowly coil walker step my foot to the outside of my left hand. I'm taking my back leg a little closer to the back wall, pressing my hip flexors down and towards the ground. Again, thinking about extending roots, finding that sense of stability, breathing into it. My chin can tuck to my chest to again help my focus downwards and towards my root or my base. Inhale through my nose, exhale, I again breathe and visualize the exhale traveling downward, exiting through my root and helping me plant or ground down and towards the ground. I keep myself breathing into the words that are reminding me that I am safe, that I have everything I need, and that I have trust. Trust in myself, trust in the world around me, trust that everything is going to be okay. As I continue to hold this posture, I can keep my eyes closed, really focus on my breath, and send those intentions or those words repetitively through my mind. Or I can start to angle my foot outwards. So I'm rolling onto my pinky toe edge and allowing my big toe to float up towards the ceiling. This is changing the stretch in my outside hip. From here, my inhale can extend my roots up and towards the ceiling. Maybe I'm looking towards them. Again, playing with our balance helps us play with this idea of trust. We're trusting in ourselves to extend and try something that's a little more challenging than remaining nice and flat to the floor. And as we follow those fingers up, that's exactly what we're doing, is we're starting to challenge that balance and explore our trust in our bodies. As we're looking up towards the ceiling, we can stay here and really focus on our breath and our internal mantra. Or we can start to semicircle arms to the top of our mat. Exhale, sweep them all the way towards our back foot. We'll repeat with a few rounds just like this, breathing into the warmth of the shoulder, but practicing that idea of trust. Now, not only in our body, but also in the space around us in the room. We're getting bigger through our body, acknowledging we have the room to move. So again, this idea of having everything we could possibly need. If I have stayed in a Sunakrama or somewhere along the way, I continue to breathe there. If I am circling my arm, maybe I'm starting to reach now for the back of my mat. If it is available within my back knee, maybe I start to bend that leg. And from here, I'm reaching back for that foot with my hand. This draws a nice stretch into the front of my thigh. And I will give you a side view so you can get a sense for what is happening. As I reach behind me, I bend my knee, maybe that hand collects the foot. If I'm looking up and over, this is again a challenge to that balance, helping me ground down strong into the pieces of my body that are still connected to the ground, but also helping me explore that sensation of trust in my body. I'm still focused on nice, deep, deliberate inhales that calm and quiet through my busy mind. Keep me reminding myself I'm safe, I have everything I need, I have trust. With my next exhale, I maybe release and return my palms straight ahead. Here I'm tipping my foot back towards the ground, so basically returning to the first version of my dragon pose that we practiced. From here, maybe I'm starting to feel a slight difference in both of my hips. I want to welcome and congratulate that into my body. Maybe starting to tuck into my back toes. I drive my weight through my back heel, so my knee and my thighs start to float up off the mat. Again, I'm focused on the parts of my body, palm, foot, and back set of toes, still grounding down, setting roots into the mat, but then I'm also going to practice my balance or my trust in my body. The hand that's closest to my foot frees itself in the mat, reaches up towards the ceiling. Maybe I'm taking a turn to look up towards them. And again, just to give you a side view of what this looks like. As I'm looking up, maybe I close my eyes, which increases that challenge to my balance or my practicing of my trust. Next exhale, we'll return my palm towards the earth. From here, I'm lifting through my front leg and taking a turn towards the side of the room. So both sets of toes are facing the same direction. I want to make sure those feet are in alignment with each other and press my weight particularly into my pinky toe edges so my arches stay lifted. I'm reaching my chest forward to encourage a nice long spine, and then I'm exhaling to send my head towards the ground. Again, this ground is this place where I think about connection to the earth, finding my sense of security, of support. But then maybe I'm taking my hands up and planting them on my sacrum or the lowest section of my spine. Here's where I want you to press into this area and really think about exhaling to the place where your palms are nice and secure, supported at the base of your spine. This is where we associate our root chakra with residing. So this is why we want to take a few moments to just send our attention there. Those heads may become heavier towards the ground. Thinking about rooting downward, feeling secure, feeling supported. Let's press even more into those sacrums and remind ourselves we are safe, we have everything we need, we have trust. I kind of like this idea of adding to that trust. So what that means is we have trust in ourselves. We have trust in the world around us. We have trust that everything is going to be okay. Maybe those heads get a little heavier towards the ground. Maybe we press even more into the sacrum. And maybe we take an even longer breath. From here, we allow those hands to melt back towards the mat. Lift to a nice flat or straight spine, pushing our hips behind us and the crowns of our head forward. Our feet, our palms are still connected to the earth. We send an inhale there and press into our mat. And as we exhale, we take a turn back towards the front of the mat, so where we started. At which point we want to find a way to take our front foot and slide it to the back of our mat. We're pressing into palm, and both sets of toes, keeping those shoulder blades protracted and protected. Engaging the core by hugging ribs in towards the hips, finding strength in our plank-like position. Our strength comes from our roots, so again, we remind ourselves palm, toes, pressing into the ground, giving us a sense of security, stability, of safety. After a few strengthening breaths here, bend into your knees and welcome them down towards the mat. Press the tops of the feet into the back of the mat. Send your hips back towards your heels and your head towards the floor. Returning to a child's pose, this time with more narrow of a stance. We focus on a deep inhale, a deep exhale. Keeping us in a place of no worry, no hurry. A place where we can remind ourselves we are safe, we have everything we need, we have trust. From here, an inhale, we'll round our weight once again up and forward, shoulders stack over wrists, hips over knees. My right toes take a turn pointing up towards the ceiling, and inhale, I lift the chest, maybe welcoming a slight back bend. And exhale, we'll float the foot to the outside of my right hand. So basically starting to practice everything we did on side one to create symmetry in the body on side two. So my back knee slides a little closer to the back of my mat. I angle the top of my foot down towards the ground, press my weight down and forward. Start by setting a nice deep breath into my hips as I reach them or root them down and towards the earth. My foot, my palm, my second palm, my back shin, the top of my back foot are all planted secure, supported into the ground beneath me. As I press into those palms, I maybe tuck my chin to my chest. So again, my breath, exhales in particular, are shifting downward towards my root, helping me ground even more into the floor beneath me. I can stay exactly where I am, repeat my breath, repeat my mantra, or if I'm looking to move on, my outside foot will angle outwards, so my pinky toe edge is down towards my mat, my toe edge is up towards the ceiling. This changes the stretch outside and inside of my hip here. And I can stay right here, or practicing that idea of trust or balance. That hand that's nice and close to my foot maybe reaches up towards the ceiling, and I can take a look towards it. Again, I am more than welcome to stop in a Sooner Kamra. Breathe, hold, and practice wherever is best serving for me. Or if I'm looking for that advancement or moving on, I start to sweep my hand towards the back of my mat and then back forward. Back of my And as I said on side 1, this movement or expansion through the body is starting to explore or trust in the space around me. A reminder that I have more than enough room, more than enough space, or everything I could possibly need. So I'm breathing into the air around me. If I want to keep moving, continuing to breathe just like this, no problem. If I want to return to one of those sooner kramas, I also can. Or perhaps the next time my hand is reaching behind me, I stay and welcome a bend into my back knee, seeing if my hand can connect to my foot. So I'm drawing that foot slightly closer to my seat. I'm increasing the stretch through the front of my thigh. This again is an interesting posture or shape where it's practicing that idea of balance or trust in your body. But again, we're more than welcome to return to a sooner prana anywhere along the way and find our breaths there. Finding my next exhale, I maybe release, returning my palm and the top of my back foot towards the mat. I will roll back so that the sole of my foot is flat to my mat, and I'm pressing into my back set of toes. I want to drive my weight through my back heel. So now my knee, my thigh are floating, but I'm still grounded and connected through my front foot, my front 2 palms, or only 2 palms, and my back set of toes. Breathing into the trust in my body or my balance. The hand that's closest to my foot reaches on up towards the ceiling, and maybe I'm taking a look towards it. Holding here. I remind myself, I'm safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. Planting my palm nice and firm back towards the earth. I can lift my front leg and start to twist or turn to face the opposite side of the room. My first step is again to align my feet and drive my weight into my pinky toe edges so my arches are nice and lifted. I'm pushing my chest forward to encourage length in my spine. Then I'm exhaling to float my head towards the ground. Thinking again about rooting downwards, finding that place of security, of stability. And while I'm here, if it's available in my body, I'm bringing my hands up and towards my sacrum. Pressing into this area, I remind myself of where my root chakra is located, and I want to draw my awareness there. As I'm pressing into my sacrum, maybe my head melts a little closer towards my mat, rooting or grounding downward. My inhales are still traveling nice and slow, nice and complete. My exhales are still sending downward, focusing on coming out through my root, grounding into the ground, novel concept, reminding me that I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. Maybe I close my eyes so I trust my head to hang in the space between the mat and the floor, or I guess the mat and my head. Close those eyes. Find my breath. Maybe my head gets a little closer. Maybe I press a little more into my sacrum. Maybe I repeat my mantra. From here, my hands will melt back towards the mat. An inhale will lift, so I'm pushing the crowns of my head forward, my seat's behind me. Nice long spine. Maybe I start to find a soft bend through my knees as I turn back towards the top of my mat. When I arrive, my front foot steps itself to the back of my mat, planting my palms strong towards the ground, pushing down into the tips of my toes, but driving my weight out and through my heels. I hug my ribs to my hips, nice and warm through my core, protracted and protected through my shoulder blades, as I ground into a sense of stability in my nice plank-like posture. From here, I see if I can take one step to the outside of my mat, followed by a second. Still finding strength through the tips of my toes and through the palms of my hands, hugging my ribs to my hips. They are downwards and not hiking up. I'll maybe take a step now a little closer to the top of my mat, followed by a second. And as I come to a wide-legged stance here, I maybe walk my hands closer to my body, connecting them now to my ankles. If that's not available in my practice, maybe it's my calves, maybe it's my thighs, wherever your flexibility finds you. Give a nice pull to guide that upper body a little closer to those lower limbs, melting your head a little closer to the earth. Take a deep breath here. After a breath, if it's available, maybe you're taking your peace sign fingers and wrapping them around your big toes. Here, you can think about pushing your chest a little more behind you, deepening your wide-legged forward fold, or sinking even more of your heads down and towards the ground. Let's take another deep breath here, reminding ourselves we are safe, we have everything we need, we have trust. From here, I'm planting my palms nice and firm towards the mat beneath me, adding a bend into my knees if I need to. My toes maybe angle their way outwards. So what that means is instead of pointing straight ahead, they're now maybe pointing diagonally to the outside corners of the room. From here, I'm playing with this idea of shifting my weight from side to side, kind of scrubbing into my hips. But I'm still thinking about being connected to the earth. My palms are planted, the soles of my feet are nice and strong. I'm exploring my trust in the space around me once again, finding that movement side to side. If it's available, maybe my hands come clear of the mat, finding more grounding or strength through the soles of my feet, playing more with that idea of trust as I sway side to side. Palms will return to my mat, and maybe I start to lift through my heels, pressing really strongly into my fingertips as well as the tips of my toes. Exhale, maybe bend into those knees and send my seats a little more downward. Another inhale, press into my fingertips, lift my heels. Another exhale, ground down, a little stronger, bend into those knees. One more time, nice and tall. Resetting or returning. Nice deep bend in those knees. Here, I'm welcoming my feet a little closer together, pointing my toes to the front of the room. We'll see if we can bend into our knees and maybe start to welcome the elbows to the insides of the thighs, seeing if our hands can come towards our chest. Here, we're not quite down and towards the ground. We're instead thinking about almost sitting into a chair, pressing out against those inner thighs, yet squeezing in toward our elbows. Palms can come towards the mat. I want you to step just your right foot to the back of your mat. Here, the hand that's closest to your foot shines up towards the ceiling, and we maybe look towards it. Return the palm towards the ground. Here, we want to step back foot to where it started. Sink on down by bending those knees and step our opposite foot to the back of our mat, lifting through the opposite hand. Let's breathe our way through a few warming transitions here, stepping back up, replacing the foot, reaching the hand. And again, palm towards the mat, step that foot up, opposite foot back, reach towards the ceiling. A few more times, just like this. Last time here for each side. And as I step my foot up, my knees are softened for now, but I want to sink my head towards the ground and maybe lift my hips even taller. Connecting my hands to my shins, I slide up to a nice straight spine. Pressing against my shins, I'm sending my hips behind me and the crown of my head forward. A side view of what this looks like. Again, nice, flat, long, neutral spine. Maybe from here, my hands come back to my sacrum. Maybe I close my eyes, I take a few breaths here, pressing into that lowest section of my back. Drawing my awareness to where my root chakra is located. I once again remind myself, I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. From here, my hands melt down towards the floor. Maybe my feet come even closer together, so my ankles directly under my hip sockets. From here, I have options to hold my Uttasana or my forward fold exactly as is. Or maybe I'm grabbing somewhere down the back of my legs, whether that's the thigh, whether that's my calves, whether it's my ankles, or maybe my fingers are wrapping around my big toes and I'm pulling my upper body closer to my lower limbs. Wherever I am along the way, my head is hanging nice and heavy, thinking about rooting downward and in towards the ground, but trusting myself enough to close my eyes, exploring the space between my mat and my head, just letting it hang nice and heavy here, not quite knowing where it is in relation to the ground, but trusting that it is okay wherever it is. Deep breath in, deep breath out. As we continue to hold our forward fold, let's repeat our internal mantra. And inhale, we'll slide those hands to the front of the shins and we slide back up to a nice flat back. After a few breaths here, trying to press your hips behind you and the crown of your head forward. You maybe see if you can extend or reach one arm towards the front of the room, followed by the second. And from here, practicing that idea of trust in the space around us, we'll inhale, lengthen to the sides of the room. Exhale to reach once again straight ahead. Inhale, hands to the sides of the room. Exhale, straight ahead. We plant into the soles of the feet. We feel our strength against the earth. We remind ourselves we're nice and safe, nice and secure, nice and stable. The next time we're reaching our arms out to the sides, let's take a breath to hold or pause right here. We'll sweep or hug a little lower, collecting opposite elbows with opposite hands, and slowly roll up inch by inch until our shoulders, necks, and head stack. And maybe we welcome those elbows up and overhead, grounding down nice and strong into the soles of your feet. We'll maybe lean towards one side, look up towards that elbow. Inhale, return to center. Exhale, tip other side, look towards the opposite elbow. One more time, we rise, we release, and set those palms against the base of our spine. So pointing downward towards our root, kind of identifying once again that place in which our root chakra resides. Shoulders are down and away from the ears. We're still encouraging a nice long spine as maybe we close those eyes, allowing a breath to remind us of our internal mantra. We repeat, I'm safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. Maybe I'm opening my eyes and taking a walk towards the outside edges of my mat. From here, I want to keep my heels connected to the mat, but turn my toes out again to the outside corners of the room, or this idea of externally rotating. We'll start to bend into our knees nice and soft, exploring the strength of the soles of our feet to the ground beneath us. As we inhale, we maybe reach a little taller. As we exhale, we maybe bend a little lower. From here, another inhale presses into those feet, finds that strength as we lengthen. Exhale, we start to sink a little lower, bending into those knees. Maybe after a few rounds here, inhaling for length, exhaling to bend. We'll walk those feet a little wider if we need to, exploring that external rotation of the toes. I'm still keeping my hands in that same position, so they're pointing down, identifying that area where my root chakra resides. Perhaps as I'm getting closer and closer to the floor, I'm starting to breathe a little more into my hips, but understanding that I am secure, I am supported by the strength of my soles of my feet down and towards the ground. I'll take one more exhale and see if I can get nice and low, bringing those hips nice and close to the floor. Here I'll walk my hands to the insides of my legs. My elbows are now pressing against my inner thighs, and my palms are touching, lining themselves up with the center of my chest. I still want to keep my shoulders down away from my ears, but I do want to encourage the top of my head towards the ceiling. closing my eyes to explore the sensation of trust. Trust in the balance of the soles of my feet, keeping me secure and supported against the ground beneath me. I'm thinking about the area of my root chakra, grounding downwards towards the floor. There's space between my mat and my body. I'm trusting the distance in between and understanding I'm more than safe wherever along the way I am resting. Focusing on finding my breath, allowing my inhales and my exhales to flood my mind with that internal mantra. As I hold here, maybe that mantra gets louder, drowning out any busy thoughts, any worries, any fears, any anxiety. Maybe my root chakra is reaching towards the ground, getting a little heavier as I'm breathing into those hips. The pose that we're holding is our Malasana squat or our garland pose. It's a beautiful posture to come to and breathe in when we are focusing on our root chakra. It helps us establish strength or grounding through our roots or the soles of our feet. It has that area of our root chakra angled down and towards the floor. But at the same time, our hands are also shining in front of our hearts to remind us that that chakral chain is always interconnected. So even though this is channeling into our Anahata or heart chakra, we're allowing the warmth from this area to trickle downward into our root, exploring that sensation of stability and trust. We'll maybe see if our palms can come just behind us, or we want to allow our seats to come nice and flat to the floor. Here, welcoming the soles of my feet together and a butterfly-like shape into my knees. I want to reach my heels even closer towards my body, rounding my shoulders down away from my ears. I'm letting my knees push their way down towards the ground. Taking a breath here, I remind myself, I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. And from here, maybe opening my eyes and coming to my peace sign fingers and seeing if I can wrap them around my big toes. With my shoulders rounding down away from my ears, I'm trusting the connection of my sit bones nice and flat to the floor. Trusting is going to help me practice my balance or challenge myself to start to float my feet up off the ground. Here, that base or root is planting down and towards the ground. And perhaps here's where I breathe, hold, and practice. If it is available, maybe I'm starting to lengthen through my legs, still staying balanced, still staying supported, still staying safe through the posture. Reaching my chest up and forward, pressing my sit bones strong to the ground. Breathing as I hold. Trusting the space around me, but also trusting my body, challenging myself to stay balanced and stay secure in this posture. After a deep breath here, I'll bend into my knees and maybe walk my legs nice and long to the top of my mat. I'm planting my heels strong to the floor and pointing my toes up towards the ceiling. And inhale, will sweep my arms overhead and shrug my shoulders away from my ears. Lifting through my chest and then hinging through my hips. I'm welcoming length into my spine as I reach towards my toes. I'm letting my head sink towards my lap. Letting my eyes close, letting my breath soften. Again, using my inhales to quiet or calm my mind. And as I hold my seated forward fold, I return to repeating my internal mantra. I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. As we remind ourselves, we trust in our bodies. We trust in the world around us. We trust that everything is going to be just fine. My next inhale will find me releasing my feet and sliding my hands towards my body. My hands will plant on either side of my hips as I push and drive my weight a little more front and center on my mat. My knees will bend and point up towards the ceiling as I again think about being strong, heels to floor, toes to ceiling. Sweeping my arms up overhead, I'll collect all of my index fingers together, shrug my shoulders down and away from my ears, lift a little taller through the top of my head, and exhale to start to connect each section of my spine nice and flat to the floor. As I arrive, I maybe tack both of my knees in and towards my chest, hug around my shins and give myself a nice big sensation of warmth and support. Maybe I'm swaying side to side, back and forth, or however feels best around my mat. Slowly swaying my way to center, I'll slice my knees towards the wide edges of the room. Here, I'm welcoming my hands to either hold the inside edges of my feet, or maybe one more time, my peace sign fingers are wrapping around my big toes. Here, I'll welcome my heels up towards the ceiling, press down against my feet with my hands, yet up against my hands with my feet. We want to be mindful that that lower back is not lifting up and off the ground. We are keeping our focus on that root chakra. We're rounding it down and towards the earth. So your lower back is pinned nice and flat to the floor. As we hold this posture, we again think about pressing down against those feet and breathing into those hips. Your eyes can close. Your inhales can again calm and quiet your mind, so that as you repeat your internal mantra, once again, it resonates nice and loud through your thoughts, as if it's the only thing you can think. You are safe. You have everything you need. You have trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the world around you. Trust that everything will be just fine. Your next exhale can slowly welcome the soles of your feet together. We'll release and allow our pinky toe edges to float their way down and towards the ground. Our legs open in a diamond-like shape, and if it feels good, maybe we walk the heels a little closer to the body, allowing those knees to melt a little heavier towards the floor. Our hands can rest against our belly, or maybe they're stretching themselves nice and wide towards the sides of the room. Either way, we want to close our eyes and shrug our shoulders down. We want to rid the face of any tension, any tightness. Free the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Send our awareness down and towards the base of our spine. Let's press this area into the ground. Visualize it rooting and supplying us with a sensation of support. We feel secure. We feel safe. And as that lower spine plants itself or roots itself towards the ground, our knees are also getting heavier, creating more and more openness through our hips. As we still try to source softness through shoulders, through necks, through heads, through faces, through jaws. We quiet our busy thoughts. We exhale anything not serving. We allow the words to fill our mind. I am safe. I have everything I need. I have trust. As those eyelids stay heavy, we're maybe starting to visualize a little bit of light at the front of our forehead. We want to see if we can turn this light into the color red. Red is the color that's associated with our root chakra. And this color red, this red light, is going to provide us with a sense of warmth that makes us feel truly safe. This red warmth, as it makes us feel safe, it starts to travel through our whole body. starting from the tops of our heads, but then working its way down to the tips of our toes. Maybe it's shining brightest, the place where our sacrum or lowest section of our spine is planted against the floor, helping us identify this root chakra. Sending a few breaths there to really open ourselves up. Search for balance in this area. Reminding ourselves one more time, we are safe. We have everything we need. We have trust. Trust in ourselves. Trust in the world around us. Trust that everything will be just fine. Next, exhale, maybe slides those hands to the outsides of our thighs. We'll use our upper body strength to help guide those knees back in and towards each other. And we're stretching our legs towards the top of our mat. Or maybe taking a moment to shake out if those hips are experiencing any tension, any tightness. But then sliding those feet towards the wide edges of the mat, allowing those toes to flop their way in either direction. Our hands will then slide somewhere in beside the hips where we have a comfortable distance of separation between the arms and the body. Our shoulders slide down and away from our ears. We create a nice flat surface through our upper back. Our eyes are closed. We let our seats or lowest section of our spine melt even more towards the floor beneath us. We start to drift all of our awareness to this place. Maybe still associating it with a nice glowing warm red light. In this place, we truly free ourselves of any worry of anything that's already happened. We free ourselves of any anticipations of anything that's to come. We allow ourselves to rest. Rest in our sense of security, of safety, as we enjoy our well-deserved Shavasana. I welcome you to stay here for as long as you need. Let your breath, let your body continue to fill you with a sense of stability, of support, of safety. Allow yourself to exhale any fears, any anxieties. We're not thinking about the news. We're not thinking about anything beyond this little bubble of space we've created. We're using this root chakra wherever we go from here, whatever it is we do, to continue living our day-to-day lives, not worried, but rather feeling as if we already have everything we need and that everything is going to be just fine. As you continue to breathe into your Shavasana, here's where I will leave you for today, again with a sense of love and of light. Namaste.